A very good morning to all of you. How are you guys today? So, welcome to our trading cage where we beat the gold. So, here on our live today, let's see what gold's doing, right? Today it did um, a bit of movement yesterday, um, which actually was kind of in a consolidating zone, still is. Trying to beat that last high. We managed to get some good movements after that rejection on the bottom on the opening of the US market. So that was really, really good. And let's see what it's been doing today. So here back on our daily chart, we have got candle 11 opened up yesterday, last night, went to the support zone, and then it's just popping back up. Just give me a second. This here might be important. So, sorry guys, this was quite important actually. But let's go. So, we've got Kindle 11 here. It tested the support to the left, and then pop back up over the 50% zone. All right. So again, we have we look at the market, and you see that every time market works from highest price, from high to low price, and 50% region. So you see that 50% region will always have some sort of support. Okay. So here on our chart, you see that from the lowest point of the market for the last couple of days to the highest point of the market on the last couple of days, we have this region here, which is a region of interest of price, right? Why is that? Because it's the same region that works as support and as resistance in between the days, all right? So when we have these regions, we know that it's basically like a change of polarity um, on the market. So you have resistance there, and then it breaks through, becomes support, and you have that region right there where it's really, really hard to get into trades because you have buyers pushing the price up, you have sellers pushing the price down. So it's a bit of a difficult zone to trade because if you get into one of those and people the market makers they just want to move it somewhere else to go grab liquidity either from the bottom to the bottom or to the top, you pretty much get stuck in it, right? So we try to avoid those, and we try to trade after it has broken through those regions. All right. We can actually see it on a lower time frame. You see it a lot better. But we have the 50% region here, which is pretty cool. Let's have a look at if I were to change this Fibo to here, we can see that price is basically working and hasn't been able to break through that 50% region or the trigger candles 89, 90, or 82. Here on the 50% region, we had a support. Right now, it is working as resistance. Prices coming down again on a lower time frame, as we can see. Most likely, candle 106 will probably test the trigger candle there, 103, before it actually tries to come back up. So, market very consolidated. Let's take the zoom out a little bit to see what we can do here on this chart. So we have this trend line. Okay, so we got that. What else have we got? Two. Let's see. It looks like we've got, it's not a channel. But the market's working from there to here. So the range at the moment, the range is here. So if we were to get that, we've got 50% of it pretty much around these region here. Okay, so candle 106 came here close to that trigger candle. It's not working on the 50% region yet. So let's see what we can do with that. We've got support resistance, we have trend line. And here we do not have a low market trend line, so we only have one up, which is good, but price is being pushed through the high part of the price again. All right. So I just wanted you to see that. Cool. We've got to make sure every morning we analyze this market really well so we know exactly what we need to do when the time comes and what are we waiting for, right? So if we do not study it, we don't know what we're waiting for. And then we can be easily manipulated by the market makers because that's what they like to do. They like to manipulate people into buying and selling, showing them something will happen and then they'll do something else and then go grab your liquidity, which is fine for them. But as traders, we don't want to be in that position. All right. So at the moment, candle 52 hasn't grabbed the liquidity that we have on the top part here. So we've got liquidity here. Actually, I'll do the below ones first, and then I've got to change that color. So what I'll do is let's do the bottom ones. So we have quite a bit of liquidity here. Candle 49 on the 15-minute chart, and try to come back into the lowest part of the chart to grab that liquidity, but could not beat the trigger candle 30 true. All right, so you got that candle there holding that price, which gives the price a bit of a support. and then price just went right back up. So we got quite a bit of liquidity here. We also have quite a bit of it, quite a lot of stops here until about that region there. So there's quite a bit here. We do have inefficiency here inside of candle 50 and inside of candle 49. Okay, so there's a bunch of inefficiency here on these couple candles. One thing that I do want to find here is that region of interest. On this chart, where is it? Let me have a look. Region of interest be around. Got one here. Got one there. These are good regions of support and resistance at the moment. So price working just on it. Change that color. Go no to not strong enough that color. Let me find something else here. There we go. And then we have another one, which is this one here. These are zones that work as support and also works as resistance for the price. It's good to keep an eye out for that. Now, when we're trading structures like these, we know that the market's working sideways, even though it is on an uptrend. It's also sideways. So easiest thing to do would be selling on top, buy on the bottom after it grabs liquidity and brings the price back inside the structure, right? It could possibly do that, and then we would be ready for it. So we have those two regions there. That's all marked up. The other thing we would have here is just have that 50% of the day, which is right there. That's the region of 50%. So here we go, 5-minute chart, and we have locked the price. So we know that we've got resistance right here. We've got support in this region here. We've got support on that trend line. We have liquidity down here, and we have a lot of liquidity here and a little bit of inefficiency from candle 3, okay, on 5 minutes. You get the color out. We'll put a light green color. Cool. All right. So there we go. This violet actually is a lot darker than what I anticipated. I need it a little bit lighter. There we go. That's better. Cool. Unmark those. Unmark that. So when I press delete, I'm not deleting all my markings. I'll do that. There is a whole bunch of liquidity here that hasn't been grabbed yet. So quite a lot of it. If price gets in there in that region, it will just accelerate and we'll try to break through that maximum high again. Okay, because there's a lot of liquidity in there. And probably, let's see how much inefficiency there is. If there is any, of course. We've got a little bit of an inefficiency here until the highest price of candle 70, and after we have a little bit of it on candle 68. But on candle 68, we have also the trigger candle 67, which may be a very good stopping point for the price. The hour candle is just coming back up again. Let's see, let's go back to the 5-minute chart. And here we have the 50% of the macro movement. And here we have the 50% of the last movement. Price did come back into these last stops here, so it did come back into the structure. On the 15 minutes here, let's see if price breaks through that trigger candle 52, and that would confirm the pullback. Okay, just one thing they can't do is actually fail that pullback, because if it fails that pullback, then it would be telling us that this price is going to come quite a bit lower. That's not a 3-candle pattern there. So let's see if it's going to confirm that pullback for us. On the 1 minute, it just confirmed the pullback. So candle 797 just broke through the 50% region of that pullback, which confirms the pullback. But you have a whole bunch of trigger candles to the left, which can break that price. All right, price will find resistance there, and then it might just do what candle 798 is doing. But candle 798 is also clearing the inefficiency out of that price, as candle 797 just went ahead and broke through everything. So candle 798 came, cleared a bit of that inefficiency, actually hit the targets of the trigger candles to the left. So let's see. Candle 160 here on our 5-minute chart has hit the trigger candle. Okay, the trigger candle here is 154, but the relevant stopping point is actually candle 155. Let's see if it's gonna fail that. It failed the pullback here on the 1 minute. Okay, so I had confirmed it. It just failed. But then again, candle 799 hasn't broken through the minimal of candle 798. So without it closing below that minimal, it doesn't tell us a lot. There you go, candle 161. It's testing down. Testing trigger candle 159. We do have support here. Okay. So we have support in this region here. If price breaks through that, it will be going over to that 50% region, which is this one here. Price very consolidated at the moment. For the opening of US market, we're gonna have to wait now. It's really hard to say which liquidity the market makers will want to grab first. Okay, so if it grabs the top part first, most likely it will drop down, but we'll need to wait for that. We can't guess it at the moment, and as we are in a consolidation, what it could do, and today's Friday as well, so what it could do is here grab that liquidity, drops down, comes here, clears that one, and pops back out to the 50%. So not a lot of people working on Fridays on the market, but we will keep an eye out for it. I do think that good days to trade Forex is actually in between Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. There are better days with better movements, but it's okay. We trade every day and we're good at it, so everything will be fine. Let's see, candle 161 is coming to that 50% region. Now, if price breaks through that 50% region here, oh, wrong chart. Let me select this one first. If it breaks through this 50% region here, and then test back up to test that that resistance in there, we could probably have a good sell here until the lower part of this movement here, the lower part of the chart. Okay, so possibly a good target region would be around 4598, but we need to wait for all that pressure from sellers to tell us that this movement is actually a healthy movement before we get into any trades. Let's see this. All right, so that's breaking through right now. I decided to go all at once. Come on, buddy. It's really fun when we were waiting for a movement and then all of a sudden it does a movement straight away. Doesn't allow you to get into the trade. We do not work with, look at that, candle 162 would need to test up. First you're getting to a sell there. Come on, test up, buddy. Test up, up, up. Come on. Don't just melt. Candle 162 hasn't tested, so I'm not getting into that trade. If you have a look here on the 15-minute chart, this is the 50% region of that, the last movement. So it's a retracement on the 50% of the day, basically. It hasn't tested. It's all good. How are you guys today? You guys feeling well? Everything good over there? Just remember, drink a lot of water. Patience pays the trader. Every single day. It's really hard to get into this trade here. Our stop would have to be above candle 160. We are talking about basically 700 points. No, it's actually a lot more than that. We're talking 900 points of stop for a target of 500 points. So not really worth getting to that trade there. What we could do is wait for a rejection of these low, okay? Once price targets this region here, we can wait for a rejection here, or we could wait for a rejection up top. Unless it rejects this 50% here on the 15 minutes, and then next candle test down, and then we could get into a trade coming up to the highest part of this chart. I'm still a buyer on this market, okay? I still think that buying is a lot better than selling. As you can see, the market tried to come down quite a bit. It tried to grab all that liquidity and continued to go down, but it hasn't been able to. So every time it comes, grabs liquidity, comes back up, then it can't break through the high price, comes back down again, grabs liquidity, goes back up. So there's a lot more pressure from buyers than from sellers on the market as it is. And I do like to position myself on the buying side instead of the selling side. Of course, that if it designs a good sale, I would be selling. That's not a problem. But I do have a couple of rules for a short on this market. I'm not just going to short it out of the blue. The rules would be I want the price to break through the 50% zone. I want price to break through trigger candles so we can have some sort of a free falling movement, okay? Since we are going against the trend. Let's see if candle 162 is going to come back up from that movement. Frequency of the market's pretty much the same. So it just came, did that. Let me adjust this one for everybody. Let's adjust that Fibo. It has confirmed the pullback in there. So pullback to the minimals confirmed. Oh no, just pop back out. Not confirmed. For it to be confirmed, it needs to break through 50% here on the 1 minute chart. It hasn't done that. If candle 55 comes down here and touches the trigger candle 44 and comes back up, that would be a really good buy, because then it would have tested trigger candles below. If price comes back up, it would be coming up over the 50% region. leaving us in a good trade to go long. I really don't want to be shorting the market in that region there. And the 163 continues its way down. Possibly it will grab all of that inefficiency there. Then price will hit this region of 50% of the macro movement. On the 1 minute, price hasn't been able to close below the last minimals. Okay, so it's still closing above. Candle 810 hasn't closed below 805. Candle 811 hasn't closed below 8010. H12 coming back up. Let's see if it's going to break through the structure. On the 1 minute, we're still in a downtrend. It's just making lower lows at the moment. Let me have a look at this. Candle 813 is finding very difficult to break through. Candle 811 to break through that last minimal. There's trying again. There we go. Cleared the inefficiency here on candle 147, but then hits the 50% region. Gets pressure from buyers, okay? Also touched the trigger candle here on the bottom, and that's when the buyers hit the price to try to avoid the sellers coming to grab their liquidity down the bottom. And the 163 closed below the last minimal from 162, so that price broke through. That was good. Bom dia, Jaciara. Muito obrigado por estar presente. Okay, so candle 54 didn't break through the 50% region here on our 15-minute chart. Candle 55 is coming down to grab all of that inefficiency here on candle 49. It just didn't give us a entry point. Let's wait and see if price actually comes down here, clears all that inefficiency, and possibly grabs quite a bit of liquidity to pop back up, and then we can get in a trade in a rejection of the low trade to come back up with the price, because then we would have a stop loss, which is quite a low stop loss in there, a place for us to hide our stop loss. And here there's nothing really strong to hold it, so we always want to be hiding the stop loss behind trigger candles, 50% region, support, resistance. And at the moment in here, um, there isn't really anywhere to put our stop loss. There is one here, which is behind the 50% of the macro movement. So if we were to get a three candle pattern here, we could always put our stop just below it and try to come back at this price. Let us have a look again at this. Who knows? We might get a three candle pattern really soon. Last time, last low. I got 50 seconds to go. Let's see what price will do. The 1 minute. It's trying to make that the pullback, confirm that pullback, and close below the last minimal, but it hasn't done so far. Let's see if it continues. If candle 165 comes down here and tests that region again, we have a three candle pattern going upwards. Come on, it's got to test more, just a bit more. I wanted to test a bit more so we don't get into a an area like it did before here. I really wanted to test that support again, and it hasn't tested that support. Because what it could do, it could just grab our entry here and then come here, touch that trigger candle, and then pop back out. It could pop back down. So I wanted it to test that support on the 1 minute before I actually put my order in, and it didn't do that. So if it didn't do what I wanted to do, I'm not getting into that trade, unfortunately. Not every day is an easy day, and trading consolidating zones when the market's sideways is not very easy, okay? As we said before, we've got to know a lot about regions and a lot about what we're doing so you don't get caught by the market makers wanting to grab our liquidity. So it's good to be wise in movements like this. It is a three candle pattern here, but it just didn't test enough for me to see that it found support, okay? So that's why we didn't get into that trade. Now market can correct itself until this 50% region here. So good target for that buy would be around the maximum of candle 163 or 50% of the day, which is basically would have given us about 300 points, which is not bad, but it would have had to have tested that support. As we can see on 1 minute, price is not being able to break through the 50% region on 1 minute, which means we've got a lot of resistance. Since it didn't test that support, most likely it can come down here to break that support now. So that's why we always waiting for confirmations before we try to get into any trades. Okay, don't just go, oh, I think it's gonna go up because the candle before came back into the structure, but it's not like that. If it doesn't confirm, if it doesn't do what you want it to do, don't go crazy getting into trades that could make you lose money. All right. So if you look at it, we have in here on the 1 minute chart, we had a support on the 1 minute chart here. We had a support that price did not test before it went up. So if it doesn't test it, and then it's even better when it comes, it grabs the liquidity down the bottom here. It grabs the orders. So it actually stops the sellers, the buyers, and then stop the buyers and comes back up. That's awesome because then it grabbed the liquidity, pushed the price back into the structure, and that's a great three candle pattern because then you know that it's got enough liquidity to break through. Other stopping points that would be on your way. That 50% region is holding that price quite a bit. Candle 55 broke through the 50% zone. Also, oh no, just closed above the trigger candle 44. But we waited until now. Let's see if price is going to break through and if it's going to come through here to grab that liquidity down below candle 145. If it does that, if it grabs this liquidity here and comes back up, we know for sure that this price will just continue on its way up, okay? So let's say if it breaks through the structure, and then if it brings the price back into the structure, since we are trading a consolidating market, most likely price will get all of that liquidity and pop back up. And then it may give us a very good entry down here, down below. Just putting a order in on the Brazilian market at the moment. It did something quite nice. So candle 166 has again tested that support. Price is not managing to break through the trigger candle over here, number 146. All right, so price coming back up. It's going to test that trigger candle really soon. Let's see if price managed to break through that trigger candle 162. No, hasn't been able to yet. So price has tested support, hasn't been able to break support, but it's also not being able to break resistance either on that 50% region here on the 1 minute. So there's a lot of buyers and there's a big fight in there in between buyers and sellers at the moment. Let's see who's going to win that fight. All right, so we got a good movement here from candle 166, but it hasn't closed above the last candle's high. So all we can do is wait at the moment. There's no signal that this price will revert from that region there. If price comes back up, it could really accelerate because candle 1621 left a lot of inefficiency here. So price could really accelerate around this region. Look at the pressure from the sellers. Got a lot of pressure from sellers at the moment. Let's see if it's going to stop the guys. Yes, it did. So this price didn't give me a clear signal that it was going to come back up. Okay. Hence why I've been waiting for it to come grab liquidity. Now, it has done now. So it has stopped all the buyers in this region. Let's see if price will break through because I did want to buy at support. Okay. We have a better chance of buying at support than buying around here. But then I need a really good signal from the market to tell me that that's a good entry point. Right now, we don't have that. Let's see if 15-minute candle will continue on its way down to grab the rest of the day inefficiency here. Okay, there we go. There you go. So grab liquidity now. Let's see if finally price will actually come back to the structure. We'll clear that liquidity there and then find the support and come back up. Let's see if we'll do that. I just don't want it to leave us with a very long stop. Okay. If it's too long, then it doesn't really help us. We would need to wait for a pullback to hide our stop behind it. Otherwise, we're talking about over 1,000 points of stop, then that's not fun at all. We have 6 minutes to go on our live. Let me tell you guys where I would be happy to short this market, okay? It may happen. So if price breaks through the support, okay, so we've got support in this region here. If price breaks through that support and our trend line here, most likely could accelerate into this lower part of that movement, okay? So we could short it there. At the moment, price just got the liquidity down below the support and pushed price back into the structure. At the moment, it hasn't shown me any signs of breaking through, okay, of closing below. So this could be just a run to get the liquidity, as we talked about in the beginning of the live, okay? So it could be just a run to grab liquidity to drive this price back up. So at the moment, I would wait until it actually breaks through, gives you a good sign that price needs to come down to grab more liquidity if it wants to come back up and break through this structure here. Okay. If it comes back up and doesn't break through, most likely price, if the price comes back up here, doesn't break through it, there's maximum here, most likely price will have to come down a lot lower to grab more, to find more orders down there, okay? So in here, if you get into a good buy, target these region here, okay? You can even take some partials out, if that's the case. But don't think that this price will just come through and break everything. Take a partial there. Then if price comes back down, it could do a little bit of a wave in here, okay, on this resistance area. And then if it doesn't break through that, you could be waiting for price to come a lot lower than that to grab that liquidity, especially around 11:30, so in about an hour and a half. That's when the US market opens. It might do that then, okay? But keep an eye out um, to see what's going to happen around this region. If price comes back down and breaks through, it might be coming lower, okay, to grab that liquidity. We'll probably drive back up because we are in a consolidation zone. So probably prop back up. And then if it doesn't break through here, you could be shorting the market until down there. All right. And the opposite's also true. If price comes back in to the structure, we could be looking to go long into this region here. But just wait for 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and the 1 minute should be aligned. When the reading through these three time frames align, it's a lot easier to trade. The only thing that I didn't like here is that 167 didn't break through. 168 is coming back up, which is great, but it's leaving us with a stop that's too long. I don't know why it does that. It always gives me impossible stops. It's like pretty much 800 to 900 points. So generated Crane grabbed liquidity here, generated a inefficiency here, and then you just went to clear the inefficiency. Sellers still trying to push the price down here on the 1 minute chart. I already cleared that inefficiency there pretty much. Price would have to come back up, break through the trigger candles, and then next candle would need to break through that 50% region to give us a better height for our stop, and then possibly getting to a long trade. But that's not what it did. It closed below the trigger candles. Candle 169 did test down, but I'm not buying in that region right now. I would wait a bit more because here on the 15 minutes, even though it closed above its 50%, this price could still come down here to grab all of these stops. There are below still in this region. So I would wait a bit. Guys, it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna go organize myself, and I do have to look after the students for the school that we work with, which is LTX Group. Okay, they've got the headquarters here in Brazil, so we'll go and give them a bit of support. All right. For now, thank you very much for all of you guys that popped in to get this analysis. Wait for this price to come back through over the 50% region, okay, of the macro here, before you get into any long trades, because this price, it could be just showing you one thing, but what it actually wants you is to come down and grab that more liquidity there. So just wait a little bit before you get into any long trades right now, okay? Well, this has been the Trading Cage. Thank you all for watching. If you guys could like, comment, share this with your friends, also subscribe to our channel. This would really, really help us out. This is a great program that we had started. We just started about a week and a half ago. We're going to continue with this for hopefully the rest of our lives. And we'll be here beating the gold every single day. Thank you. This has been the Trading Cage.